Hey there folks, I am the Mighty Plantain. Thanks for checking out this video. We are looking at a new Sam Adams variety pack. This is their Gameday Beers 2021. I say a new pack, it's not necessarily new. We saw Gameday Beers last year, but last year it included Sam 76, Bavarian Lager, Cold Snap, and Boston Lager. This year, holding true to their Instagram account's claim that Sam 76 is officially out of the variety packs, we have Cold Snap and Boston Lager, repeats from last year. But we also have Golden Ale and Alpine Lager. Now, none of these are indicated as new. Golden Ale, I believe, was new earlier this year. And Alpine Lager, I don't recall where we've seen Alpine Lager before, but I know we have. So, nothing new in this pack, but what's new is the news that, true to their word, we're not seeing Sam 76 in the variety packs. Now, if you've seen any of my videos regarding the variety packs, any of my reviews of the variety packs in the past, you know my thoughts and feelings on Sam 76. It's not a bad beer. It's a decent beer. It just doesn't belong in the fall and winter variety packs. I can make a case for it belonging in the summer and spring variety packs, but I'm glad to see it gone from all variety packs. Now, that being said, this may not necessarily be the spring variety pack. Last year, we saw Gameday Beers as a bridging the gap variety pack. It was in between the winter and spring variety packs. So, people are thinking this might be the spring variety pack this year. You might be right, you might be wrong. We'll see what happens in a month or two from now and see if there's actually a spring variety pack labeled as such. So, now, without going too much further into that, I've spoken my piece. So, we're going to start with Cold Snap out of this variety pack. We're doing all 4 beers in this video, and we're going with Cold Snap first, and I believe I went with, crap, the numbers are not on this. I believe next will be the Golden Ale, next is the Alpine Lager, and finally is Boston Lager. Oddly enough, we're looking at it's still winter, not quite spring here in New England, but we're looking at a variety pack where the Boston Lager actually happens to be the heaviest beer in here. Maybe not necessarily in terms of beer color, but definitely in terms of IBU, International Bitterness Units, which normally we would go light to dark overall in terms of the beer character. But when it comes to Boston Lager, it's not necessarily the darkest beer in terms of color in this variety pack. I don't know, because again, I don't remember Golden Ale or Alpine Lager and how dark they are. But it could be lighter in color than those two, but it is definitely heavier in IBUs because it's at 30 and none of these other 3 go beyond 20. So, hit me up down in the comments, the email link down below if you want to know what the significance of lining them up based on IBUs is versus lining them up versus color. Because I've already explained that in a previous video I did tonight, and I honestly am beyond explaining it again. Most folks tuning into this channel know why we line them up in terms of IBUs versus color. For you folks who are rookies, well, like I said, hit me up down in the comments, the email link down below. I'll be more than happy to inform you, but I've already wasted a lot of time running off at the mouth on this video, so I'm just going to go into the beer reviews. And I'm going to try and keep it short and sweet, folks, but I got to warn you, I'm a couple of beers deep in already, and we've got 4 beers to go. So this could be a roller coaster ride of a review, and I'm going to try and keep it to 30 minutes or less. But I ain't making any promises. All right, so Cold Snap. White ale with spices. We've seen this one before in multiple packs. We know it's a good beer. We know it's a solid beer. There shouldn't be any surprises here. My numbers might change from previous ratings based on how I'm feeling about this beer at this particular time, but flavor and character-wise, we shouldn't be surprised. I'm going to go ahead and read the labels on these, each and every one, which I don't always do for the Sam Adams beers, but I feel like doing tonight. So, Cold Snap, bright and lively. At this time of year, there's nothing like this unfiltered white ale with its exotic blend of 10 fruits, spices, and florals, bright orange notes, and a touch of vanilla. See, there should be a period or a comma there. And a touch of vanilla, add smooth, subtle sweetness, creating... So that should either say and or have a... I'm sorry, the language bit is throwing me. At this time of year, comma, there's nothing like this unfiltered white ale with its exotic blend of 10 fruits, comma, spices, and fruits, period. Bright orange notes and a touch of vanilla. And a touch of vanilla. Add smooth, comma, subtle sweetness. Okay, comma, creating a refreshing flavor that signals spring on its way. I think I've made this mistake before. They're right. For some reason, I think when the word vanilla should be the end of the sentiment, but no. They're saying that spices and florals, period, bright orange notes and a touch of vanilla, add subtle, comma, so smooth sweetness, blah, blah, blah. I'm pretty sure that point has caught me up every fucking time I've read the label on this beer. So, hopefully, I'm able to keep my shit together for the next 3 and not mess them up like I did this one. Now, I could edit that out. I could just re-film this whole segment and say, I messed up. But I'm nothing, N-U-F-F-I-N-G. I am nothing if not honest, so I will leave that in. Anyway. In terms of honesty, I think I should have gotten a 12-ounce glass. This might be a 16. But that is a very effervescent. Look at all those bubbles. Hazy and light yellow to orange. I'd say that's a darker yellow. Oh, look at all those bubbles. That is so cool looking. I mean, there's tons of little tiny bubbles coming up from that nucleation point in the bottom of the glass. But it does fade from a nice light hazy yellow color to a nice light hazy orangish color at the top. Slightly citrusy. There's a slightly bitter orange peel flavor, aroma to it. Slightly bitter orange peel aroma mostly, and I'm not getting much of anything else. It's got a nice medium light mouthfeel, a little bit of body to it. Hint of bitterness. Coriander? No, there's no coriander in there. I'm definitely getting that same bitter orange peel flavor. I'm getting a hint of the sweetness and the vanilla flavor that they mention on the label. Just hints, though. Overall, it's mostly that bitter orange peel flavor. It's smooth, it's crisp. The name Cold Snap means that you expect a bit of a snap to it, along with the coldness, so it's appropriately named. Overall, it's a good, solid beer. It's, again, Cold Snap. It's a nice spring beer that bridges the gap between nice, light, and thaw. A nice, light thaw that you expect from spring weather, but hiccups are trying to break through. I'm just trying to tamp them down here. But that sudden cold snap that you can get in the middle of the spring thaw that makes things frozen and crusty again. So it's an aptly named beer for the overall experience. I'm going to hit it with a 3.5 out of 5. And I will try to, as I always do, mention this only once in this video. A 2.5 out of 5 is an average rate. So 3.5 out of 5 puts this significantly above average. But again, it's a good beer. It's a solid beer. It's a nice seasonal beer. Honestly, it's one of my wife's favorites. The Lady Plantain loves Cold Snap because, well, she likes it in cans better than bottles, and it's hard to find it in cans these days. Used to be easier because cans are cheaper, and Sam Adams is one of those breweries that's good at canning beers that don't taste like canned beers. But she apparently likes the different and that canned beers have gotten better over the years versus bottled beers. They have less of a metallic taste, less interference with the flavor. But some people honestly still prefer cans over bottles, and this is one of the ones that my wife does. Anyway, she prefers cans over bottles overall. I'm segueing, and I'm trying to bring myself back, but I'm getting lost in the weeds here. Anyway, my wife does like canned beers over bottled beers, and Cold Snap is specifically one of her favorites. So it's harder and harder to find these days Cold Snap in cans, but it seems to be coming back. And I don't know if the glass versus can thing is anything to do with COVID, but we went through a year there where it was hard to find anything but bottled beers. And now we're finding cans again. So there is a 12-pack of canned Cold Snap in my fridge because my wife loves it. Bottom line, I think, the point I was trying to make in the beginning of this whole tirade was Cold Snap is one of those beers that a lot of people like. And my wife is one of those folks. She's a good yardstick for beers that everybody else will like too. I'm not saying that derogatorily. She does like a good double IPA from time to time. She does like other types of beers, but she's got a good sense for the everyman beers too. Anyway, Cold Snap is an everyman beer. And I can get behind it as being a 3.5 out of 5. Above average, good beer for all the reasons I mentioned before, and then some. It's good. Don't mind it. Don't hate it. I like it. It's welcome in any spring and winter pack. I don't think I'd welcome it in a fall pack, but honestly, I think I could. I think I would not be too offended by its presence there. Anyway, that's enough about Cold Snap. We're going to finish it off, and we're going to move on to the, I believe, Golden Ale is next. Don't quote me on that. I'm going to reserve the right to rearrange these, but I'll tell you this. Cold Snap's first because it's only 10 IBUs. Boston Lager is going to actually be last because it's 30. I'm pretty sure that Golden Ale is next, and that the new Alpine Lager is number 3. You know what? We'll see what's next when we see what's next. As always, I will be cleansing with water in between beers, so rest assured that I will have as fresh a palate as possible for the next beer. And I will try to keep it briefer than this. Alright, well, we are up to the Golden Ale. Honestly, I can't remember if I had Golden Ale or Alpine Lager up next. But in terms of IBUs, Golden Ale's next, and Alpine Lager is after that. Boston Lager's last. Alpine Lager being the only new one in this pack. Even though I said I don't think there's anything new, because I was looking at this listing. It does say here on the side that Alpine Lager is new. I was pretty sure it was, but yeah, now it's confirmed. So, one other thing I messed up. I did have a 16 ounce or 22 ounce perfect pint glass. Although I guess at 22 ounces, it's not exactly a perfect pint, is it? So, anyway, here we are. 12 ounce perfect pint glass. Even though a pint is 16 ounces, but whatever. We've got the right size glass for a 12 ounce beer from Sam Adams now. We are doing Golden Ale as part of the Gameday Brews 12 pack. Gameday Beers. I keep calling it Gameday Brews, but it's Gameday Beers. It's pretty fizzy and effervescent. Ooh. That is a beautiful, beautiful beer. It is not hazy at all. It's got this nice, light golden color to it. Look at all of those bubbles coming up. And the head on it. The head on it is nice and light. And I'm going to try and tip it here. I don't think I can get the right angle on it in the camera, but I'm going to try. Can you see how that's got that nice glowing yellow color to it? The bubbles that are coming up are nice and light, and they're catching the light just right to give this golden halo glow to it. It's beautiful. This is a good looking beer. Now, I don't remember which variety pack the Golden Ale was included in before, but it's not new, so I know it's been included in something. I'm still in love. I've got this mental image of that color and the appearance of the beer with the backlight on it in the back of my head, and I'm still in love with the look of this beer. Pardon. It's not that late at night. I shouldn't be that tired. Folks, I mentioned at the top of the video, I'm a few beers in, so anything I have to say in this video should be taken with that in mind. There's a slight hint of sweetness to it. Now, I promised to read all these labels, so let's keep doing that. This bright golden ale drinks like a perfect crisp day. The upfront citrus aroma is complemented with a subtle spicy sweetness, creating a perfectly well-rounded all-day drinking beer. Crack another and soak in the moment. So I did get a hint of the sweetness in the aroma, but I'm not necessarily getting the citrus or any of the other things I should smell. The upfront citrus aroma. I'm not getting citrus in the aroma. I'm just getting a slight bit of sweetness. This complemented with subtle sweet, spicy sweetness. No spiciness either. Perfectly round. Okay. I'm mostly getting the sweetness up front, but there's an after effect of a hint of citrus in the aroma. Let's talk about the taste here. Damn, that is smooth and light and crisp. Light mouthfeel. Easy drinking. Smooth, crisp, light, ale. Maybe a hint of a citrusy sweetness in the finish, but not overwhelmingly so. Well-rounded, I can give it that. It's good. It's decent. It's well put together. It's a good, easy drinking beer. Pardon. I'm hitting this one with a 3 out of 5. Pardon. Again, it's not a 2.5. A 2.5 is average. It's just slightly above average. It's well put together. It's easy to drink. Smooth, slightly sweet, slightly citrusy, easy drinking, nice, well-rounded beer with a hint of graininess. It's good. Good. Not great. Not bad. Just good and easy to drink, which makes it slightly above good, which is that 3 out of 5 rating. I got nothing bad to say about it. And it is going to go down fast and easy. So we're going to finish this up. We're going to check out that new Alpine Lager next. All right. Next up is Alpine Lager. Now, it says here this is a new one. 5.5% ABV, 18 IBUs, which puts it a little bit ahead of the last two. Brisk and smooth. Hazy and golden, this unfiltered lager is a breath of fresh air. The crisp maltiness and lively citrus notes transport you to brisk, sunny days out on the mountains. Well, that would mean something to me. If I was a big ski enthusiast, but I'm not. So, yeah. I'm just gonna drink the beer and take it for what it's worth in terms of flavor, character, and aroma. Ooh. But what we've got here is quite effervescent. I'm getting an aroma of sweet, crisp pininess from back here, so that's interesting. Oh, but it's hazy. Oh, that is so cloudy and hazy. I don't see evidence of particulates. This is mostly cloudy and hazy. Just maybe hop oils. Pardon. It's getting late in the evening, apparently. Yeah, just hazy and cloudy with a slight hint of effervescence. If you look down in the lower right-hand corner, I believe, of your screen, right on your side, left on mine, you'll see that little stream of bubbles coming up. But it's got a nice light yellow color here that fades to a darker yellow, almost orangish color, but still very hazy, slightly effervescent color. My furnace is about to kick in, so you're going to see an editing jump here. I'm just honestly getting a general beeriness from the aroma. Yes, picking this up after the furnace kicked in, but I mean, Alpine Lager is an apt name based on the smell. It's got that nice, again, I said it is just a general beeriness, but what I'm also getting here is this weird evergreen aroma. I can't narrow it down to spruce or pine or anything else. It's just this weird woodsy evergreen aroma on top of an overall general beeriness. And the two keep circulating, so I don't know if it's a general overall beeriness or the alpine spruce / pine smell. The two are competing for dominance every time I take a whiff of it. So let's just say there's just this nice alpine beer aroma to it. Call it that. That's interesting. It's got a nice medium mouthfeel to it. That chill was more about the temperature in this room than anything else, but I did get a bit of a chill in my spine when I drank it. It's somehow cool, crisp, and refreshing in the middle of winter without being off-puttingly so. Now, what I normally look for in a nice winter beer is a warming sensation of some sort. But this is crisp and cool and yet still somewhat comforting in the middle of winter. On a 15 to 20 degree night. So it's interesting. I'm getting a general overall graininess, a general overall beeriness, but then in the finish, there is that Alpine Lager flavor, the piney, citrusy, slightly citrusy, piney, sprucey, slightly citrusy aroma, and that translates into a flavor. I'd almost put it into the winter warmer category, but it's more of a winter cooler. It's got tons of evergreen and winter character, but it has a bit of a chill to it versus the warming effect that I want from a heavy winter beer. So, we're on the cusp of spring. Well, for maybe some of you, it's January 8th, 9th. Today. Yeah. Here in Maine, we're not going to experience spring for a couple more months. For the rest of you, it's coming pretty soon. Anyway, Gameday Beers. I can see how this fits in the pack. It's good. It's not bad. Pardon. Getting sleepy. It's another 3.5 out of 5 for me right now. Overall, it's a great beer. I just don't see it being an incredible or wow factor beer. It's just good. So far, and I say this with great confidence because I know that Boston Lager's next, and there's no surprises there. This is a good, solid overall pack. Again, it's another great pack for introducing your friends. Damn, I don't know what the hell happened right there. To craft beer. It's easy enough with Boston Lager, and we'll get into the details on that. Pardon, in a moment. To introduce people to the complexities of craft beer when they're normally Bud Light, Miller Lite, Coors Light drinkers. And I said this about last year's Gameday Beers pack. And this is also another great onboarding pack. I mean, you can take anybody who drinks, pardon, those other simple domestic beers, and you can introduce. Here's where the hiccups are trying to creep in. I'm going to try and tamp them down. But one quick aside here. 2 things cause hiccups. According to science, dry throat or a fluctuating diaphragm. Dry throat, obviously not a problem. Been drinking all night. Fluctuating diaphragm means you've got to regulate your breathing and counteract whatever spasms you feel coming up from the diaphragm. I think I've successfully navigated that and tamped down the hiccups. So, you can't prove me wrong. At least not right now, you can't. Anyway, as I was saying, this is a great introductory pack. It's a great way to take your friends who might be Bud Light, Coors Light, Miller Lite, fucking Michelob Light drinkers. Bring them into the fold. Because you can throw a cold snap at them. It's got some nice subtle flavor hints that they're not used to getting in beer-flavored beer. Same thing for the Golden Ale and the Alpine Lager. They're not used to getting those things in their beer-flavored beer, but you can introduce them to familiar yet new elements, because those familiar elements are amplified in the flavor of these beers, so they'll be new to them. Anyway, I'm just saying that this follows along the lines of the last year's Gameday Beers pack, in that it is a great craft beer introductory pack to people who might not be fans of craft beer. So, I'm going to finish up the Alpine Lager here. And if you are any sort of beer aficionado, if you have seen any of my variety pack or Sam Adams beer reviews before, the next beer coming up, the Boston Lager, should be no surprise to you in terms of where this review is going. But I'm still going to drink it anyway and tell you what I think about it on camera, because that's what you tuned in for, I hope. Alright, next up, Sam Adams Boston Lager to complete this pack and close out this video. Pro tip for regular viewers: you can probably skip the next segment of this video and fast forward ahead to maybe the last 30 seconds or so, because we're looking at Sam Adams Boston Lager. And if you've seen any of my variety pack beer reviews, mostly the Sam Adams ones, but even others and many of my other beer reviews, I've told you that Boston Lager is one of my yardstick brews, one of my perfectly balanced and delicious beers. There's no surprises here for you. So go, like I said, go ahead and skip to the last 30 seconds or so of this video, because this is going to go the same way that it always does. Off to a great start, as always. Oh, wait. I've read the label on these others, so let's read the label on this one. Again, no surprises, but let's keep to what we've been doing for this video. 4 ingredients, painstakingly chosen. Every year we travel to Bavaria to hand select Hallertau, Milfra hops, and the high American plains for the finest 2-row summer barley. We cultivate our own lager yeast, and I personally sample every batch. Reading the label, not saying that I myself personally sample every batch. You know that, though. You're not dummies. All our hard work goes into brewing this distinctly flavorful and complex beer for you. Cheers! Jim Koch. I know, some people say Koch. I'm like, I've seen his commercials. He says Cook. So, boosh. Pronounce it however you want. It's pronounced Cook, per the man himself. Founder and brewer. Alright, so Jim Koch. Say what you will, the man is still an icon in the craft brewing world. There are people who are making the argument that Sam Adams is no longer a craft brew because of the size of the brewery, the percentage of their market share, whatever. You know what? Based on the independent spirit of the beer, and yes, I have my differences with them, mostly centered around Sam 76, but I will say this, they're still independently brewed, independently spirited. They've got craft contracts with Twisted Tea, Angry Orchard, and a couple of other places. Sam Adams, I still consider them to be a craft beer brewery. They might only be putting out 1 or 2 new beers per year, but I still consider them craft based on the spirit of what they're doing. If you disagree, fucking argue with me. Hit me up down in the comments, the email link down below. I'm more than happy to discuss it with you. But as far as I'm concerned, Sam Adams is still an independent craft brewery, even with their acquisition of Dogfish Head. And I really hope that infuses a new spirit of innovation into the Sam Adams beers. But you know what? If they do it under the Dogfish Head label, I'm still happy. Anyway, enough about that. We're talking about Sam Adams, Boston Lager. This is what you tuned in for. Look at that beautiful, clear, yet dark, amber colored ale. I'm going to say amber colored. I mean, look at that. It's like an amber caramel. It just looks smooth and delicious. There's maybe a few bubbles coming up from there. I didn't put a good head on it, but still looks like a great beer. I smell grains. I smell hops. I'm even getting a hint of yeast. Pardon. 3, 4. Okay. And just after all these other beers, by the way, I had 5 beers before even starting this pack tonight. So we're on the 9th beer now, and these weird gas bubbles need to pass and get through the system without being like bleh or bleh. Just okay. Talk about the gas bubbles being ridiculous and obnoxious, but here I am being ridiculous and obnoxious at the same time. So, anyway. I talked about the aroma. I talked about the appearance. Just this perfectly balanced, roasty, toasty, crisp, medium mouthfeel. It's not too heavy, it's not too light, it's just right in the middle. It's got some body to it, but it also has a crisp and refreshing character to it. This roasty maltiness without any specific oat, wheat, blah, blah, blah characters to it. It's just this nice maltiness with a bit of roasty character. And then it finishes with a strong overall hoppy bitterness. I'm getting hints of pine, hints of citrus, hints of earthiness, and hints of floral, but they're all blending together. Now, I've had other beers that just have a flat out hoppy bitterness where I can't pick up on the individual notes. This one happens to be a beer that has hoppy bitterness with hints of each of those individual notes that blend together into a great overall hoppy bitterness. Like I said a couple of minutes ago, more than a couple at this point, I'm sure. This is a full-on 5 out of 5 for me. I didn't say that. I hinted at it. But this is a full-on 5 out of 5 for me. The Sam Adams Boston Lager is a perfectly balanced beer. And that is the wow factor for me, which brings it up to the 5 out of 5. I mean, I've had other beers where there's a unique or different character to them that brings it up to the 5 out of 5. But Sam Adams Boston Lager, just like Stone's Arrogant Bastard and, locally speaking, Bigelow Brewing's Lying Bastard, they're just so perfectly balanced and well put together without being wow in terms of a unique or different flavor, but wow in terms of how well everything goes together. Gets that perfect 5 out of 5 wow reaction from me. And again, Boston Lager. Every time. That being said, thank you, Dylan, for giving me the heads up and pictures of label art indicating that they are going to change my Boston Lager and make it different. I have a couple bottles sitting in the back of my fridge waiting to compare to the new formulation, and I hope that they don't fuck it up. Because Sam Adams seems to be trying to reformulate all of their flagship beers leading up to and including Boston Lager. So, we'll see how that works out. But, for now, it's still a 5 out of 5. Folks, hit me up down in the comments or the email link down below. I'd love to hear what you have to say about any of these beers or the pack as a whole. As far as I'm concerned, it's a starter pack. It's an introductory pack. Invite over your sports fan friends. Give them a chance to check out these beers over Bud Light, Miller Lite, Coors Light, and introduce them to the world of more flavorful beers. Pay attention to what they like about them. Ask them questions if they like the hops, if they like the malts, if they like etc., etc. Whatever flavor they like, steer them in the direction of a better craft beer than the domestic blends that are all about now. That's my heat kicking in and drowning out my audio, so I'm going to project towards my microphone. I'm not going to cut this off like I normally would at this point. Take to heart everything I've said until now. If you disagree with me, if you agree with me, either way, I still want to hear from you. Hit me up down below in the comments, the email link. Till next time, folks, thanks for tuning in. I'm done fucking editing around this roar of my furnace. Thanks for tuning in, and cheers.